Here, you want to ask the next question?
Sure. There's been talk of reducing the number of legislators as a way of cutting costs of running state government. What's your position on this issue, and what's your position on term limits for state legislators?
Start with Tim.
Well, the first issue is, I always had mixed feelings about that because you hear, the extreme right, you only need half of them or whatever. But the bill that Sam Smith sponsored, which I was the first Democrat to co-sponsor it, only cut it 10 to 15%, which I thought was reasonable because I think everyone in your district needs a voice. And when you're representing 65,000 people, it's a lot of people. And I believe that it wouldn't be that much of a cost savings per se, because you're going to have to hire additional staff to try to, fill in for more people. Term limits, hey, I'm all for term limits because, if you can't get something done within 10 to 15 years, you don't need to be there 20, 30, 40 years. You don't. I mean, I didn't do this job. I mean, I can be real honest. I didn't do this job to be a political hack or for the money, or I did this job to try to change Fayette County because I have 4 kids. And I have a grandkid now. I want to see them stay in Fayette County, and it's hard. It's hard for them to find jobs in this area that are qualified. And that's why I believe that everything that we talk about tonight and in the future should be about education in Fayette County, because it all comes back to that. And I just can't stress it enough. I talk to people all over the state. If you want to locate to somewhere, I mean, where else can you go in the state of Pennsylvania and live in such a beautiful area and have all 4 seasons, have all the tourism, have everything that you want, but you don't have the education programs that you need here. And when it all is said and done, I believe that Fayette County will be right there at the cutting edge of education within 1 or 2 years. I think people will start sitting down at this table and trying to formulate a plan to,
30 seconds.
That's all I need. I'm good.
What about term limits?
Term limits? I'm for that.
But how much? Or
I think
3 or 4 terms. Or
I don't think you can't get anything done in 3 or 4 terms. I mean, unless when I went to
5 or 6 then, or
I wouldn't go more than 15 years.
15 years. Okay.
I was lucky when I first went in my first term. I was driving because I had a mission for open records, and I got and everyone knew me in Harrisburg for that, and that's why I guess they recognize me as the friendliest legislator in the state of Pennsylvania. PA Politics did that this year or last year or whatever.
Okay, Gary.
Well, this all started off with the reduction of the legislature. And I've on record in the past, and will stay consistent, that yes, I do believe that we can reduce the size of the legislature. We have the largest legislature, and the second most. No, wait a second. I've got it backwards. We've got the second largest legislature, but the most expensive. Okay, and we're spending more money than we need to be spending, and that's because of the staff and things that we have. Mr. Mahoney's softened on his position as he's been in Harrisburg, and I'm disappointed to hear him say that. I don't think that we should have 15 years is too long. Do I believe in term limits? Absolutely. Potentially 10 years is too long. I wouldn't, 10 years is max. If you're looking for a drop dead number, and potentially you could cut that back to 8. People need to get in and get out. Part of our problem that we see is the political thing that goes on and goes back and forth. All right, because people are looking for all the perks and all the benefits that they go, because again, they vote on those themselves. It's not you and I that get to do this. It doesn't get to be about you and me. And it should be, and it's supposed to be about you and me. You know, and I'm glad Mr. Mahoney brought up the transparency of government because, you know, although we've moved a little further to the middle, okay, we've got a long way to go. You know, he talks about transparency, but his records aren't open. You know, I post the city budgets and quarterly financial statements online because they should be. But Mr. Mahoney, he doesn't publish his expense reports and budgets and vouchers online. When we talk about transparency, again, you know, emails and phone records should be available to the people because we're paying for those things. Now, when Mr. Mahoney was asked about that in Harrisburg on the bill that he had put together, not Senator Pileggi's bill that got passed, on whether or not those were in there, he wasn't sure. All right, but in Senator Pileggi's bill, they're not. They cut themselves out of that. You know,
30 seconds.
they deal with a whole set of rules. You and I have to, again, abide by these laws, but the legislature has set up their own set of rules that they don't have to abide by the same open record transparency laws that you and I have to abide by. And that's wrong.
I respond to that one now.
Nah, you still.
We can get together
Put it
because
on your list.
we can have a lot of conversations
It would be
anytime
a long
anytime you
list.
want.